Ride Property. So recently Steph and I have been getting asked quite a lot how we run our social media, how we create that content, how we plan it for the week, and how we execute that content across all of our various social media platforms. So we've got Ride Property, Ride Lifestyles, and our personal pages across Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get a video put together to just give a bit of an overview really of how we do all those things, so how we plan it, how we structure it, how we keep that consistency going, and most importantly how we utilise our VA to push that content out across all the various different platforms. So hopefully it is going to be of assistance to some people who maybe are just starting out, thinking about putting together a social media plan, and hopefully it might provide a little bit of inspiration. I will put our contact details at the end of this video, so if you have any questions whatsoever, please get in touch. And apart from that, please, I hope you enjoy the video, and whatever you do, make sure you enjoy the ride. Cheers guys.
Here is our social media board, and this board is incorporated within our Trello setup. So for those of you that use Trello or are familiar with Trello, you'll know that you can have multiple boards. So this is a board that we're looking at now, and within that board you can have multiple lists, so cards, as it were. So this is a card, this is a card, so you can see I can move it around if I need to. And also you can have, like I said, multiple boards. So just to give you a little bit of an oversight of what we have got. So within our board we have our annual reminders for our property. So everything is recorded in there, and we get reminders of when we need to do things like gas safety checks, electrical tests, etc, etc. We also have our tenant onboarding system, which we have systemised, and we have our own particular board for that. We have our to-do list, which all of these boards is just me and Stephanie on these. But this particular board, the social media board, and also VA tasks, has our VA, Danica, also assigned. So again, those of you that use Trello, you'll understand that you can assign people to particular boards. So as mentioned, Danica, our VA, is very much assigned to this board, as she is pivotal in helping us to get our social media content out there. So you'll see from the way we set this board up is we have sectioned it from Monday through to Friday. I'll show you there. And that is to enable us to have some real structure to our weekly social media plan, but also to keep things as consistent as we possibly can. So I'll touch on each individual card. So again, as I mentioned before, that there is one card, this is a card. Okay, so Monday is our motivation day. So this goes on my personal pages. So that is, as I previously mentioned in the previous slide, is Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. So something that me and Steph decided pretty early on is that we will utilise my personal pages for our social media, so not to duplicate too much work or too much content across all of our social media platforms. So my personal pages and Ride Property business pages, and also actually Ride Lifestyles, which we've recently added, are where we publish our content. So Monday motivation, and this is quite a nice one actually, because this one started off as us purely creating that content, but actually now our VA Danica, she she actually creates all the content for our Monday motivation post. So as you would expect, it takes a little bit of time to get to that point with your VA or your PA or your social media manager, because they have to know what your values are, what you stand for, your style, how you like to put posts across, how you like to articulate certain things, and that does take a little bit of time. But actually, as long as you're giving real-time feedback into your VA, you're communicating on a daily basis, there's no reason why that can't be achieved fairly quickly. So Danica now has got a really good oversight of the content that we like to push out there, and actually does some really good posts for us for a Monday motivation that gets really, really good engagement. Tuesday, so moving on. So Tuesday is, so go back, Monday motivation, that can be about anything. That's business, that's property, that's anything that's going on in the world. It's just a motivational post. When we move on to Tuesday, so Tuesday's post is linked into my blog also. So I have a blog that Danica links it into. And this is, as the title would suggest, is topical. So for instance, right now, we have, if I just kind of move down, so for instance, that one there, new standards, electrical testing, that was a post that had come out, I think, from NLA that particular week on the new testing standards that we would need to use. So that was why that was used. So it's all kind of very current information that we like to publish on that particular day. So kind of moving down to where we're at right now is working together with your tenants through these difficult times. So that was the post that we put out this week for our Topical Tuesday, which linked into the COVID-19 emergency kind of worldwide crisis that we're facing at the minute. So very pertinent and very relatable to what is going on in the world right now. So that's the Topical Tuesday. So these posts here, these are very much Stephanie and I creating that content. So as before on the Monday Motivation, where we have completely given the reins to Danica to create that content, because she does a very good job, and we've got to a level where we know that she can put the kind of content out that we would wish to go out. The Tuesday, it's a bit more topical. A lot of the time it's property related, of course, so we very much keep a grip on that content. So we create this content ourselves. We find the images that we feel match that particular title and the narrative. But actually, that said, on those images, we put them on here, and actually these images aren't branded, so these are just images that we just kind of put on. And what Danica does is she goes onto these images, and she'll do her magical touch. So she will add in our branding, and she will spice up the image by kind of just making it more attractive to the eye. And actually sometimes she'll change the image, but she'll make it it still stays relevant to what it is. Clearly this one here, that's a refurb, so she's not going to change that one. But this one here, she'll probably change it to one that is free from copyright. So a lot of this stuff we just pull it off the internet, and we don't really think about it. We try and just put something on, but that way it gives her an idea of what we're trying to say. She'll then go and get a relevant image that is free from copyright. She'll add the branding onto it, and then she'll push it out. And I can probably show you some examples of that in a minute. But we very much input onto this calendar, and then she will then make it fit for purpose. She'll brand it, and she'll put it on our social media platforms for us. So Monday Motivation goes on my personal platforms. Topical Tuesday, this also goes on my platform, social media and the blog. So if we just tap into yeah, I'll just go into this particular card. So you'll see here is where we put the narrative, and we also put the relevant hashtags down here. And then we try and give that direction as much as possible for our VA, as in we label it where we want it to go. So as I mentioned before, this would go on my particular profiles. So that would be Instagram, Facebook. It says Twitter there. We don't actually use Twitter. We've got a business, Ride Property business page on Twitter and personal pages from me and Steph. But to be totally honest, we don't actually use Twitter. It's just Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And as you can see there, that's also that kind of tag to say blog, so Danica knows that it needs to be linked into the blog. And what we'll also do is mark what day of the week that needs to go into, and also what month. But I'm kind of working down here, you'll see what I mean. Yeah, so for instance, we probably weren't doing it over there actually. But if you move down here, as we started to refine things a little bit more, we put in a due date on there so she knows which week we're on. So there's no confusion about what post she needs to put up. Again, moving down to the latest one here. Yeah, so the due date is on there and it's been completed. Okay, so moving on, Hump Day Hint. Yeah, so again, that's very much this time we're moving on to more Ride Property specific posts. So this goes on Ride Property business pages for Instagram, Facebook, and because at the minute we don't have a business page on LinkedIn, it just goes on my personal page on LinkedIn. So you can see here, Hump Day Hint. We try and keep this quite short in terms of there's not necessarily a massive narrative that goes with our Hump Day Hint, as it's just a hint, so we just keep it short and snappy. And again, it's always kind of relevant to what is going on, and we try to keep it as relevant as we possibly can. Again, there's a theory, so that's another one that is a Ride Property. So again, this whole board, allows us to keep that consistency going, to keep that structure going every single week, week in, week out. There's a theory, Ride Property. Again, we move down, and this is a deeper dive into property theory, and it's very much property related on these two pages. Moving on from there's a theory on Ride Property, we move on to our new business venture, which is Ride Lifestyles. So this is very much our customer facing side of the of Ride. So we've got Ride Property, which just going back to, that's very much our kind of investor facing. So we're quite careful about what we put on those particular pages, because that, as I mentioned, is our investor facing. So we'd like to keep it as professional as we possibly can, as relevant as we can. So it's a bit less of the actual document of the journey, that's more on our personal pages. And then, moving on to Ride Lifestyle. So this is our, as I said, customer facing side of our business, Ride Lifestyles. So here we, we advertise the type of accommodation that we offer to our tenants, that kind of high-end shared living. Our values across in this as well, our style, again that Ride branding, enjoy the ride, your lifestyle, your choice, climb the mountain, ride the wave, kind of all of those hashtags that we've got across both businesses. Again, we try and keep that really consistent. So here you see your lifestyle, your choice. So branding is so important. So again, that's a fairly new business venture, a couple of months now. And again, so fairly new pages on Facebook and Instagram. But again, here we have Tuesday and Thursdays where we post. So Steph is very much kind of owning this at the minute in terms of that content creation, and we use, for those of you that might want to know how we create these images, so the ones that we create are used or created using Canva, where you can kind of overlap your branding on top and do kind of clever things with the photographs and the images. Okay, and moving on then to kind of the back end of the week. Friday motivation. So again, this is another day now where we have handed over the reins completely to Danica, because she's, we've realised very quickly that she is very, very good at these kind of posts. So she uses some really good philosophy books where she gets her ideas from, where she creates really good narrative and links it in, and again keeps it really relevant as well. And it's all around business and property, just motivation. So again, she'll do the narrative in here, the associated hashtags, which again we keep an eye on to make sure that they are relevant to the particular post that we're putting out. And again, it's all about that kind of consistency, that mind space of getting our brand out there, marketing as much as we possibly can in a really positive way, where we're adding value as much as we can, whether that's purely just motivational kind of inspirational posts, or it's more kind of property specific stuff where we are trying to either document the journey or add some value where we can, and dependent on our experiences to date. So yeah, so that's the kind of hashtag Friday feels, and again we try and have a relevant hashtag for each particular day, and then again that Friday motivation goes on my personal pages, and then at the same time on a Friday now we've upped this, so that's a new kind of additional post that we've now given to Danica, so there's a little bit more kind of content from us getting out there, which is what we want to do, but at the same time on a Friday we also have a Friday behind the scenes. So that is kind of our thought behind this is, this goes on our ride property pages, again Instagram, Facebook specifically, and this is just a little bit behind the scenes of me and Steph, both as a couple, as business partners, kind of what we are doing behind the scenes, building our business, documenting our journey as we go. So again, the most relevant post at the minute, depending on when you're looking at this video, if you are looking at it, is we are in the midst of COVID-19. So again, this is us kind of just talking about keeping our mind and body healthy while we're running in Dartmoor for our one exercise slot that we're allowed a day at the minute, because we're all on a lockdown. Unprecedented times indeed. Okay, so that is a bit of an overview of our Trello board, and it's something that it certainly takes up a lot of time. Anyone that thinks that we leverage this all out at the minute is kind of mistaken, really, because whereas we have Danica, our amazing VA, and she is incredible and she helps us so much. We've now given her two posts, so one on a Monday and one on a Friday, which she completely takes hold of, and we don't have to worry about that whatsoever, which is good for us. But everything else, so going from the topical Tuesdays, the hump day hints, the Thursday theories, all the ride lifestyle stuff, and the behind the scenes, that is all me and Steph doing that. So we are fairly structured people. We like routine. We are, I would say, extremely process driven. So we are quite strict on the weekends, where we will set aside as much time as we're able to, and sometimes we don't get it all done on the weekend, even though we are very regimented and structured in what we do. Sometimes time just does not allow that. So sometimes we do kind of, catch up a little bit in the week as we go, and it's not unheard of to be doing posts at 6 o'clock in the morning before our VA clocks on at 7 a.m. But yeah, we do. We find a spot in the weekend where we focus all of our time and energy on this particular board where we create our content. So we create our content on the weekend, we upload it onto this board, and then Danica, our wonderful VA, on a Monday morning, she clocks on at 7 a.m. and then she goes to work. So she will take the particular post. So this one, for instance, she would take that post, she would work her magic on it, she will brand it with our branding, she will make the image look far, far better, and she will then post it real time on all of the platforms that is stated here. So she will post that image for the particular day, and then she spends at least an hour immediately post that post going on, the post to post. So immediately after that post has been put onto the domain or to the platform rather, and she'll then do that real time engagement, which, as we know, is absolutely essential for increasing reach and increasing our following across all of our platforms. So she will do that. She will also engage on other people's platforms. So full disclosure, if it is 8:30 a.m. On a Tuesday morning, she is more than likely responding on our social media pages. Now again, this is something that we have kind of allowed a little bit more as we've gone along. So in the beginning, clearly, it's important that our values are kind of put across, kind of our language that we would use, how we would respond to different people within our social media network, within the community. So there was definitely an element there of Danica doing her own research on previous posts that we put out, and she was very, very good at doing that and analysing what we did, what we had certainly been doing in the past, picking up little phrases that we say, and how we engage with people. So she was very quick to do that. So she does engage on behalf of Steph and I, certainly from kind of 7 a.m. in the morning till 11 a.m. So we hire her for 4 hours, Monday to Friday. If it's anything technical, or if it's anything that requires a response from either me or Steph, she will not comment. So the comments are normally, kind of pretty short and sweet, acknowledging people as they have taken the time out to comment on our stuff. If it's anything else that requires anything more specific or needs a proper answer, she will signpost us to that, and then we will catch up on that later on, or if we've got time, we'll do it there and then. So yeah, so that is our social media board. I will do a separate video on other tasks that we have our VA Danica do for us. So this is purely social media, and as I said, she is our real-time engagement. As soon as she comes on, she brands our posts, she comments on people when they comment and like our post, she will return that, and she'll actively go on other people's pages, especially on Instagram, and she will engage on people's profiles, which in turn increases our following, and she's very, very good at that. So yeah, so that is it for the social media plan. Hopefully that's given you guys some food for thought, and again, just an overview of of what we do. It's probably just worth noting quickly before I shut down this one, is something for the future. So this isn't something that we do at the minute, but in terms of analysing post performance, I think that this is a tool that is definitely we are going to start using in terms of metrics, posts that do well, posts that don't do well, and again you can use like different colour labels if that's what you want to do, if you want to colour code it, and as you can see here, you can set a due date and assign it to like Steph and I, or it would be Danica in this case, a week after the post has been put out there to evaluate that performance. And again, there's different ways in which you can do that. Analyze how many likes, how many comments, how many shares, and then just kind of just create some data. Just so you're not always doing the same things, or if things aren't working, you're not continuing to do them. But also, if a post has got some good engagement, a particular post, then you analyze that post, figure out why it got a good engagement, and then you do a similar post again. Why reinvent the wheel? So yeah, any questions? This is going to be going on YouTube. I'm also going to link this into our social media platforms. But yeah, any questions on any of this, then please drop me a line on any of my social media profiles. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or you can also drop us an email, and I will drop that into the comments at the bottom of this post. And that's it. Okay, thank you for your time, guys. Remember, whatever you do, enjoy the ride.